I say 15 years of experience, but let's be honest, that's usually 1 year of experience 15 times.
Hey everybody, Jen back again with the Feral Business Owners Podcast. Today I've got Chris. Chris, welcome to the hot seat. I'm so excited that you're here. And as you probably know, you've probably listened to a couple of these already, but the first question out of it is, what are you doing to grow your business right now?
Wow. So, I'll be perfectly honest. I reserved listening to any, so I didn't know what was going to happen. So I have
Ooh,
no
I like
idea
that.
what's coming up.
I
Yeah,
like that.
I saw your page, and I was like, you know what? I'm not listening until I've been on the show, and then I'll be able to like walk in there with no expectations.
I like
So
that.
yeah, so to grow our business right now, we're always focusing on building our culture. Um, we want to have the best people work for us, which means we have to be the best place to work. So
I love
that's
that.
how.
What is your culture right now? What's your feel on it?
So right now, I feel like our culture is pretty good. There's a quote of getting the right people on the bus, getting the wrong people off the bus, getting those right people in the right seats. And we're working on. We've gotten the wrong people off the bus, so to speak, and right now we're working on getting the right people in the right seats. So some of our people that have been with us for a little bit, we're moving them into different positions, giving them more responsibility. Um, those kinds of things, and
Yeah.
then the money that goes with that as well. So
Yeah.
making sure that we
Yeah.
have happy people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like culture fascinates me, honestly. I've traveled and spoken to so many businesses, and it's amazing how much people don't talk about the culture of their businesses. And so culture really, really, really fascinates me because I've my business mentor, that was one of the very first things he talked about was, what's your mission, what are your goals, and how are you going to teach that, because that's where your culture lives. And I was like, dude, you're so right. And so to get that is hard, and to get others to buy into your culture, I found, is also hard. So what are you doing to get buy-in?
Wow. So when it starts right from the gate, it starts right at the gate. So we're not hiring people who have bad attitudes. We're hiring people who are positive. Um, we've been working with coaches for the last few years, and one of the things that was really stressed is to hire attitude and train aptitude.
Yep.
So sometimes that guy that has the 15 years of experience and is able to fix all the things, has the worst attitude and brings down the entire room when he walks in. So
Yeah.
we've quit hiring those people.
Mm-hmm.
We hire people that maybe don't have any experience or don't have much experience, but they have a positive attitude. They show every day that they want to be there,
Yeah.
and that right there was like the number one thing for us, that they got us on the way to building the right culture. And then after that, it kind of everything started to fall in line because people wanted to be there. They were, you give somebody a shot, they're more grateful than the guy that I say 15 years of experience, but let's be honest, that's usually 1 year of experience 15 times.
Yep. Yeah. That's
So
a great way of putting that, honestly. Like, I've never heard somebody say that. That's so true. It's like, you may have 15 years of experience, but you've only ever done one part of the job. I really, really like that. That's a really great way of saying that, honestly. Because in
yeah,
electrical, like, we've got guys that are like, oh, I've been in electrical, like you said, 15 years. And you're like, no, you've done 15 years of roping houses. Like, you haven't troubleshot. You don't know how to fix something on the fly. Like, and you're in HVAC. Love
yeah.
your marketing, by the way, because I did some snooping yesterday. Um,
Oh.
yeah, I love that. I love the way that you said that's 100% true. Yeah, you've got 15 years of experience, but of one thing. So you mentioned coaching. What coaching are you a part of?
So for a long time, I was a part of an organization called what used to be SGI, is now Certain Path. Great
Okay.
organization. And I recently kind of resigned from that. Um, the reason being not because they weren't good or they weren't bringing the value. They really were. But I was tapped on the shoulder about 5, 6 months ago to be trained as a coach with the Conquer program. So we just
Nice.
finished some coach certification, and now we're building groups for the new coaches that are coming in, and so it's a really neat organization. What I think that they have that other maybe coaching organizations don't is a higher level of communication, um, and continuing. And I don't know this for sure, but I feel like the continuing education for the coaches is much more involved than perhaps with other organizations.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Do you have any sales training for your guys, like your comfort advisors? I don't know if that's what you call that position. That's what a majority of them call it. Um,
yeah.
do you guys do special training for them and coaching for them, or is it business level? Like, what levels of your businesses are receiving coaching or have received coaching?
Yes, I mean it's right now it's geared more towards the business structure, management, those kinds of things, knowing your numbers, the things that a business owner needs in order to survive and thrive. As far as sales and things go, there are different things that you can work with your coach. The coach generally is going to be the source for that information. So we I as my company, we've worked with different sales training outfits over the years, and
Yeah,
so those are all different referrals that we can make, different things, paths that we can point people down. But it's Conquer is much more focused on the actual business side of things, and there are definitely things that are included in the program for management and employee level things as well, job descriptions,
that's
that kind
phenomenal.
of thing. Yeah.
So if you could drop one wise word from your coaching to our audience in business, what would it be right now?
Know your numbers.
Yeah.
So,
And
build a
what do you
budget.
mean? So everybody's like, what your KPIs? What are your key indicators, right? Your
Yeah.
KPIs. Show me what they are. What would you say are business in HVAC? Let's get very niche specific, right? What
Okay.
KPIs should I be looking for in HVAC right now?
So you want to track the number of calls that are coming in and how many of those are being closed as appointments booked. That's probably number one.
Okay.
Number two is the calls that are run. How many of those are closing for repairs? How many of those are being set up for the potential as a lead for the sales team, right, for replacement? That needs to be tracked. You're wanting to also track the amount of each service call. So if your per ticket numbers are low, we need to look into that. And then on the sales side, you want to look at your average close rate there, and if
Yeah.
you're seeing less than a certain percentage on certain types of leads, meaning was this a marketed lead where somebody called in as a cold call, or is this a warm lead where somebody turned a lead over as a technician to a salesperson,
Yep.
and so looking at those different close percentages, those are the main things that you're going to want to track.
That's great nuggets of information. Like I'm sitting here like taking notes. I'm listening because even still, like even being in business, like even now and speaking to business owners, I love having these conversations because I have such an open mind that I walk away from every single one of these podcasts with something that I'm going to implement. So I'm going to open up these doors in a minute when we're done, and I'm going to be like, guess what, guys? I want to know these things, and they're going to be like, who'd you talk to? No, they're usually really awesome and supportive. What size business do you have?
So we are a seven-figure company, meaning we finished out the last over $1 million. We have 4 technicians in the field. We have one in the office and myself. So the one in the office is actually my wife. She joined our company about 5.5 years ago. And
Yep.
yeah, I'll tell you what, there is no accountability partner like yours.
True story. True
Because
story.
your manager, your CCI, they are not going to call you out on your crap like your spouse will.
No, and they know where you sleep.
Yeah,
You know, sometimes you got to go to bed like this, like one
you
eye
know.
open.
Yep.
Like honestly. No, so do you guys like what are your ground rules for working with each other? What's because a lot of people are in a transition period, and a lot of businesses are on should I bring my spouse in, should I not? Or maybe they're struggling a little bit. Do you have any words of advice or for working with your spouse?
Yeah, I think the main thing for us is at the end of the day, the office door gets closed because we have a home office. So the office door gets closed, and so does the work conversation stays in the office. Obviously, there's going to be things that come up where you're like, "Hey, did blah 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 happen?" And you got to answer that question.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
But for the most part, between the hours of 7 and 4, 8 and 5, whatever your operations are that you're doing the things. Um, yeah, uh, after those hours, turn it off. It's just like coming
Yeah.
home from work. My wife used to work in the dental field, and she might tell me about something that happened during her day. An exciting story, and then after that, we weren't talking about work for the next 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours.
Yeah.
It was the rest of our lives,
Yeah.
because somebody taught me early on that we work to make a living. We don't live to work,
Yeah. You know,
and there's
that's actually printed on my checkbook. I know some people, the millennials, are gonna be like, "A check what?" But yeah, it's
what's
that's actually printed. Yeah, what's that? It's actually printed on my checkbook. Like, just so you know, I'm handing you this check. That's my money, and I just want you to know this is my value. So I like that because yeah, my checkbook actually has that printed on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many people that feel the opposite, that they're just here to work all the hours, and
Yeah.
I appreciate the work. What's the word I'm looking for? The work ethic there.
Yeah.
But if that's all you are and that's all you're about, there's you're gonna burn out. You're gonna end up with a bad attitude. You're gonna end up jaded,
Yep.
and you're gonna feel like you missed all those years.
Yeah. And a lot of times too, I find that particular mindset ends up career hopping.
Yes, because all you're looking for is the next. Who's gonna pay me more to be here?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and at that point, it's not even so much maybe position hopping from like company to company as it is actual career hopping. They go from being HVAC to plumbing to dentist to X-ray to I mean to all over the field to all over the map, and um, instead of being a jack of all trades, be a master of one.
Yeah.
And I think you can do that with the right mindset and training and boundaries. And that also applies to ownership. And for me personally, I reached a burnout probably 3 years ago, and I was just done. Like I was coming in, sitting at my desk and going, I don't know what to work on right now. I don't I had felt like I had mastered everything, and I was like, I need something else to do. This is not enough. And so I was struggling with that. Like, I knew all of my numbers at that point. I just didn't have any growth space left. And so I needed a place to go to be like, okay, what are you working on? What are you working on? What are you working on? And that's when I realized that we needed the coaching. And that's always, since joining our coaching network, it has always given me a place to go to be like, okay, I feel like I've mastered that. What do I need to do next? And so that's why I feel like the coaching is such a huge part of business growth, because you will reach a point where you've mastered everything. You've got enough phone calls coming in for the amount of technicians you've got. You know what your numbers are. You know what your bank account is. You got money set aside for taxes. Like you'll reach a specific point where you're literally like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm coming into work every day. And it's a little bit of burnout and it's a little bit of misguidance. And so that's why I also, like I said, I really appreciate the coaching and what you're doing in that aspect of making sure that business owners know what to do next, what the next step is when they feel like they've got it all figured out.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you feel like you've got everything going and firing all cylinders, it's like, yeah, it can be a little bit, you can get a certain attitude about things, and that can lead you down the wrong path for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
which organization are you with for
So
your for
we
coaching?
so we use Nexstar. Nexstar is awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
Love Nexstar. They have done us so awesome story about us. And so this is a story about like don't give up. So Nexstar with Clements Electric, we applied one time and we went through all of everything. And they have a really stringent application system. And
Hmm.
we didn't make it. And so
Oh
it was
wow.
like we did not make it to Nexstar the first time we applied. And so we went through everything and they said, you know what? You're not there yet, but if you do this, 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 and this, come back. And so we did, but we never came back. And so I had another friend of mine who had applied to Nexstar and was like, you need to do this. And I was like, dude, we've already tried. Like, they already told us, no, I'm not doing it. She's like, do it. Do it again and do it. And I'm like, okay, but I'm telling you, they're going to say no. I'm like, it doesn't cost anything to reapply. So we reapplied and they're like, yeah, absolutely. You've checked all these boxes. You guys have done phenomenal. You've taken all the information we've given you and actually done something with it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So if you run up against that wall, at least they gave us that feedback, right? Of, hey, these are the things you can do to improve on. And had they not done that, we wouldn't have improved. We would have just been like, oh, we don't apply. And so, yeah, we use Nexstar, but we actually had to apply twice to actually get anywhere with them.
Yeah. Always improving. Otherwise, you become stagnant, and it's not good for you. It's not healthy for
No,
the business.
no.
Um, in,
What's
in
your
networking. Go ahead.
what's your next step for growth? What are you wanting to implement to start? What's your since you've got enough trucks out in the field, you've got new coaching coming on. What's your next big goal that you want to take on?
So right now we're actually looking to increase the number of technicians we have, and we want to move to. Right now we have our two of our technicians are also salespeople,
Mm-hmm.
and so they will run our market leads and also all of the tech turnover leads as well as their own turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we're looking to kind of take more hats off of me as the owner and to give some of those to the other people in the team. So we are going to be expanding over this year,
Gosh,
likely
and
adding.
taking those
Yeah,
hats off is hard.
I have my own little org chart that I've been building over the last couple of. Uh,
Nice.
so the things that are in yellow are me,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of yellow. So
Yeah,
we
there's a
want
lot of
to
yellow.
we want to turn a
You
lot of that yellow blue, which means it's technician ran. Um, yeah.
nice. And
So
when we took Mike out of the field, Mike being my dad, but when I'm in business and I'm in the office, I don't call him Daddy's Mike. Um, when we took Mike out of the field, it wasn't hard for him. It was hard for the technicians and it was hard for the homeowners. They didn't
mm,
like the fact that they were being told, no, we're sending a technician, not the owner. That was the hardest thing that we were up against was transitioning our homeowners to a technician versus the owner.
we
When
we did
we
have a lot of that. We had a lot of people who I have developed a relationship with over the last. We've been in business now 10 years, and so I think for the last 2 years I've been out of the field primarily, and this year I've committed to not jumping in the truck when we need.
Isn't that
Got to go handle
hard?
the things. You know,
That is
it,
such a mind shift.
it it's probably harder for me than anybody else because I grew up. I am the technician, right? Like that's my personality. I'm the technician, and so I have had to learn how working on the business is
Hmm.
is my technician job now. I'm
Hmm.
fixing the little pieces and parts in the company,
Hmm.
and so it's definitely a mindset shift, and
Yeah,
that's yeah.
it's not physical hard, it's mental hard. And having to
Yeah.
switch from physical hard to mental hard is hard. And
Yeah.
it's a retrain. It's a retrain of going, okay, my body can rest, but my mind and my brain have got to work, and they've got to work hard. And for Mike, he had 2 back surgeries. He injured his back on a job trying to hang a chandelier by himself. Yeah, and his first back surgery failed, and then the second one, he's doing phenomenal, but he still can't get in the truck and work like he used to. He's running estimates and things like that, but when he wants to, it's because he's like,
That's
yeah, sure, it's like, but he's been out of the field for so long. Um, I love him to death, but it's really interesting to see him call the service manager and be like, "What should I price this as?" And I'm like, "That never would have happened. Never, ever, ever would that have ever happened." He would,
that's
but it's the script has flipped because now he's like calling the service manager and being like, "What do you think about this price?" And my service manager's like, "No, you need to up that. No,
that's
we're not pricing jobs at 3-men trucks anymore."
so I'm gonna call myself out on this. So I priced out a sale the other day. I sold it, right? And
Yeah.
then my guy, he's like, hey, I saw that thing on the schedule for next week. Did you forget to add blah blah blah? And I was like, no. He's like, are you sure? And I was like, yes. And he's like, why is it so low? And I was like, well, where would you have been at? And he's like, I would have been, and it was a number that was
Yeah.
even higher. And he's like,
Yeah.
he goes, and I would have closed it.
You're
So
like, "Thanks."
yeah, it's like, yeah, well, at least you're going to be busy next week. He's like, yeah, but you're going to lose money.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. They call you out on that real quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they
My
know that at
service
the end of the year, their bonus is based on our performance throughout the year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. He's like,
yeah,
"Well, congratulations, you own the company, but."
yeah. Here's a quick tip. If you're
Go for it.
not giving some kind of bonus to the employees at the end of the year, start it.
How
It
do you do
will
your
it will
structure?
So it's based on how long you've been with us for 1 year. So if you start halfway through the year, we're going to give you 50% of whatever gets divvied up.
Okay.
So what gets divvied up is 3% of net profit from the year. So if your net profit was $100,000, 3% of that gets divvied up amongst the what do we have? I'm not taking a part of it. So it's just the employees. So the office and the other team, the rest of the team. So
Mhm.
3,000 would be split up amongst them. So they said that this year they want their bonus to be bigger, so our net profit has to be higher. So we have to make some changes.
I like that. They got
So
some skin in the game at that point.
absolutely, absolutely, and we had a goal of let's see, it's 2 years ago. We had a goal of 924,000 was what would have been a 50% increase for us from the year prior. And
Yeah.
so the guys said, no, we can beat that. We can break 1 million. It's only another 76,000. And we ended up beating it by, I just did the math earlier. Let me look. Like 228,000. We beat our goal. So
Damn.
yeah, we finished out the year over 1.15 or something like that. And
Congratulations.
thank you. It's due 100% to the efforts of the guys out there in the field. And the greatest thing about it is that they didn't have to lie, cheat, or steal to make it happen. Everything they do is based on our, how we run our calls, and so they're able to provide an I guess you could say an ethical uh, income to the
Yeah.
company and themselves.
Yeah. Absolutely. 100%.
So,
So we're coming to the end. So I
all
always
right,
ask everybody these last 2 questions. What's one thing in business you 100% got figured out?
culture,
What's one
making make
thing? Go
yeah.
ahead,
Go ahead.
finish. What making what?
Yeah, making sure that the team is happy and producing at a high level because they want to, not because they feel like they have to.
That's phenomenal. That's so well said. I love it. What is one thing you don't have figured out?
Oh man, systematizing everything. So having one of my things that I'm working on right now is being more, I guess, automated. So
Mm-hmm.
having things. We utilize our CRM is House Call Pro, and there are ways to use integrations and uh, I want to
Zaps.
get better. Yes, yeah, I was gonna, yeah. So I don't know enough about that, and that's one of the things that I really want to learn and see if we can uh, take some of these and turn them into Zaps.
Yeah.
Because if we can
And I
automate,
bet you can.
I'm sure there's ways, and I'm going to be working with somebody on that. I just got to figure out who and start befriending them and pick their brain.
Yeah.
So,
And there's so many communities and how that House Call Pros got built that I know you're going to find somebody. Um,
mhm,
yeah. And I
yeah.
can't tell you how many House Call Pro accounts that I've set up. I think I probably have helped initialize 20 accounts of
Oh
people that have
wow.
reached out and they're like, hey, and I'm like, create me a username and a login. Let's do a Zoom and let's build your account. And so I would build their account for them and just get the initial setup going because it can be overwhelming. I mean, because when Clements Electric started on House Call Pro, it was very, very simple. It was not what it is today.
Yeah.
And I was one of the very first adapters of the House Call Pro group, and I just sat back and watched. And it was like every time they would turn on a new feature, I was like, yes. I said, just kept saying yes to everything. And
Yep.
that's how Clements Electric grew. Was I was just in the mindset of saying yes. Like if it wasn't going to work, it wasn't going to work, but I was going to say yes to it to try it. And that to me was the pivot point for Clements Electric was House Call Pro and the community group in saying yes to what other people were trying and yes to the features that they were turning on. And I still to this day, if a feature is turned on, I say yes and we try it out. It may not
I
be for us. It may be more for AC geared or whatever, but I'm gonna still try it. So that's my piece of nugget for this podcast is have the mindset for the culture of yourself to say yes to grow your business.
yeah, because maybe you can adapt it in some way, and it'll help other organizations.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, Chris, thank you so much for coming on and being open minded and being here with us today. Because we're the feral business owners and we're all just here figuring shit out. So,
That's right.
and before you leave, tell us where we can find you if we've got questions about your business.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm always in the Facebook groups for business owners for HVAC. I'm on some of the groups like for Measure Quick or for HVAC School. You'll likely find me there. If you're a Pro user, I'm always in that page. If you're a Super Pro, I'm on the Super Pro page. So just look for us over there on the Facebook. That seems to be my social media of choice, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Phenomenal. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to our Feral Business Owner podcast, where we're all here just trying to figure shit out. Till next time.